What's going on, y'all? It's J Smo Reviews here, back at it again with another video, man. Bringing you guys, as you can see, my Bigg K versus Tay Roc bar for bar review. I'm breaking down the details, the approaches, and I can, before I even did the recap last night for day 2, I said I had to go back and watch some specific rounds while I could that I was so 50-50 on, even after watching it live. And I could say after about what is 2 full rewatches, I guess like 2.5 rewatches of Bigg K versus Tay Roc, this is probably the hardest battle I've had to call since I've started, the J Smo Reviews channel, and one of the more debatable battles I've just had to deal with in a long time. There's a variety of different reasons, I'm saying? I do think there is a point, there is a round that kind of determines this battle, which of course we'll get into in the details, but I also want to say I think it's a really good battle. I felt pretty harshly about it when I first watched it last night, and some of those critiques I still have. While it's really good, I don't think it is a instant classic like you see some people calling it, or one of the top 3 battles of the year. So some people saying it's right up there with Nitty and Lux, or just right behind it for battle of the year. I'm going to get my reasons why I believe against that, but I was maybe too harsh on it or stuck up on the things I didn't like with the live watch. After a full weekend of battle rap, you're tired, and there were certain things that didn't play into my favor with that, with liking this battle. But on the rewatch, I appreciated it a lot more. If I thought it was maybe a 5 or 6 out of 10 battle at first, I now think it's more of like a 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10 type battle. Not 10 out of 10, not what some people are calling it, but I do have a greater appreciation for it. And let's get into the reasons why, right? Let's start with the first round. So first round of the battle starts on Bigg K. And he starts out kind of just in a pocket for the opener, and you can almost see off of like just this, there was a lot of tension when this battle started out, and by the time he finishes the opener, it's I'm a whoop you twice as bad for making me chase you. So, you know what I'm saying? Tone setter right there. From there, I'm about to lift a torch in the cave and light this bitch up. I thought that was dope. And then you got, in my opinion, the first haymaker of the battle. The vampire get knocked out. He sleeps standing up. I like that bar. And then we get into the angles, which obviously we were expecting from K, and particularly in this first. Not only does he use a lot of angles, he kind of flies through them here a little bit. He is starting with the chain angle about Roc, you know what I'm saying? Allegedly getting his chain snatched. Yeah, Mr. Gun Bar King, where were your gun bars then? I thought that was cool, you know what I'm saying? But I actually liked the bar after more. Why didn't you almost fight when they almost tried to kill you? I thought that was hard. So from there, he flips up about a bar later. He said, it got to stand by the door like Roc watching Briz get jumped. So we're going through, you know what I'm saying, the few different kind of almost like right out there angles, which, you figure we get touched on the battle. So I thought that bar was cool. I was nicknaming straps when you was making gun titles. I thought that got slept on a little bit in the building, but I even thought that was nice. There's a thin line, and then kind of goes into an angle he's going to use more later about Roc's relationship with URL. You know what I'm saying? The money that he deserves, or has deserved from them, hasn't gotten, which is the picture that is trying to be painted. And then he says there's a thin line between loyalty and betrayal of self. That is one of those, I do like life content kind of bars. It's something that I think Calico, is a great part of his style. Reed Dollars, I think it's someone else is really good. And same thing here with Bigg K, T-Rex as well. But I thought that was a line that kind of filed into that like category of raps. I thought that was pretty clever. And then brings that to like, oh, you did 50 battles for URL and they brought you a cake. And what's crazy is I bet when you blew the candles out, you wished for money. Which I thought was dope too. So it's a concise first, but he is moving through angles here, maybe a little less surgically than I would have expected from K. Like, he touches on the chain angle, he has a bar about the British shit, right? And then obviously, gets into, he's going to bring up kind of like money again later in the battle, but the URL money angle. And while he had good material, outside of, funny enough, the vampire bar, I didn't feel like he had too many, like, bombs. I thought it was a good run. I thought it was light when I watched it live. I don't feel like that watching it back. But it's a good round that could be beat. And then Roc rapped. And Roc started with angles of his own. Angled about K not being at the Stay Forever event. And he kind of elongated pathway to get there. I'm not going to lie. I did not love this opener from Tay Roc, and it led to the bar, which got a lot of reaction in the building. Jay Black, how did you give this white man a Cody during Black History Month, which of course is going to go crazy. And it does get the crowd on your side, so I think it's smart. From there, he is the Cartman, the Kenny in the Hood Cartman bar. Thought that was cool. He be only around dudes. He's always at sausage parties. Why is that corn talking? Thought that was cool. He has the, if I was one of his black ops, his block would have been a war zone. I like the Call of Duty bar. He is the Rock Band scheme, and that's when I thought Rock started to elevate here. And I'll tell you right now, this is a long-ass round from Tay Roc, and both of his first 2 rounds are long, but particularly in this first, we have a lot of content to talk about. So he's the Rock Band scheme, ends with the 9-inch nails punch. I thought that was fire. Clipping the tail for the dog like a pit bull. I thought that was cool. So it is a lot of jabbing. The black guy doesn't die in this movie bar. I thought that was fired. The Family Guy scheme. I thought that was cool. The hollow tips, black and milds, without the plastic piece. I thought that was pretty dope. The Baskin Shark bar I thought was pretty dope. Hold it over top of K like an accent mark, like K. You know what I'm saying? It has the accent mark. I thought that was pretty dope too. He is the rubber duck bar. I did not think the rubber duck bar was dope. And then this is where we really have to talk about the time, in my opinion. Because in the first, I'll let you know right now, like, K rapped about 5:30 in the first. Tay Roc his round is 11 minutes. And you're just not going to win when it's this evenly matched in talent and someone is rapping a 10-minute plus round. And listen, I don't like to get into time limits every battle like some people do and turn to it, because it's one of those things you can't control. Some guys are going to be a minute over, right? It's like you could debate about it almost every other battle. But when we get to the 10-plus minute mark, like rounds that everybody's looking around, like this is a long-ass round, like I got to say, I do think it helps Tay Roc win this first, because I think he has a flurry at the end we're about to talk about. I think it helps him win the first, but the efficiency is down, and I think it hurts the footage. So, from there, he had the wire jaw, dog mouth muzzled shut, the dog racist bar I thought was dope. But then he has the, as soon as you see the car you hit, punch buggy, no punch back. I thought that was fire. He is the Blues Clues bar. I thought that was fire too. And then he ends with the Men in Black, even the dog in the suit too, and with the pug from Men in Black dog. So I thought those last 3 was fire. So I thought he won the first, but it's 11 minutes to 5, so I can understand the gripes people are going to have. I think it is a fair one. In this particular first, I still think Roc had the material to make it clear, but I gotta say, after watching it live, maybe it's because of how long that first was, I wasn't the biggest fan of it. I feel better about it now, but it does take away from the watching experience to me. And then it's worth mentioning that in between the first and second, there was an almost fight, the guaranteed almost fight from this battle, but it's kind of funny how it changed the battle in a few different ways. It takes the intensity out, because afterwards, they went from like no sportsmanship whatsoever to like so much respect and sportsmanship. I mean, they end up cheering for each other's bars. It kind of takes away that intense feel from the first few rounds. But it fixed 2 things. One, it got better. Like the raps from here are better. We're about to talk about the second, which I think is the peak of the battle. And also on Roc's side, which clearly he was rolling deep, Twerk was up there. And of course they're going to, some would argue they're doing a little bit too much cheering, but you're going to expect that, Twerk in your corner, Roc in your corner. Certain battlers are they're your hype men, But like when the almost fight happened, I thought it got escalated because Twerk kind of like jumped in the middle thinking K was going to touch Roc. And then the people behind Twerk saw that and they start moving in. And it becomes a domino effect. That's what happens with like these very deep entourages up on stage. But from there, or it seems like Organic cleared the stage a bit. And I mean, from the entourages to the battlers themselves, when that intensity went down, the raps kind of elevated. And that's where you get kind of the feel-good moment that I think this battle turns into overall. So, just a little blip, and it might have been necessary, right? Because like I said, I think the seconds are both of their best rounds of the battle. And you have K starting out with the Hungry Like I'm Homeless opener, and he has a lot of comedy to slowly build up through this first kind of like middle section of the round, in my opinion. He has the comedy about, making fun of Roc's bad bars, the Area 57, the face on the 50 like Jefferson, and the way he did it was really funny, kind of belittling him, you fucking idiot, you know the way that they ad-lib, both these battlers ad-lib, and then he is a haymaker right in between. He is the run you down in pull up in an old school and run you over in a Plymouth Rock. I thought that was fire. Talked about repping VA. I've been throwing up the V like Spock. I thought that the Star Trek joint was super fire too. And then back into the comedy and kind of talking about Roc being down with different crews in his career. Went from Ride and Surf. Now you can find him out in Philly yelling "Yo Bull." It's a new cousin at the cookout. So like, just kind of belittling Roc at an angle, but taking a more comedic approach to it. I thought it was decent, and then he gets in a roasting caution. I'm not going to lie, I'm not really the biggest fan of, like, taking a portion of the round to go with Lady Caution. Everyone does it when they battle Roc. It's pretty brutal, the shit he was saying, though. When it looks like the Men in Black bugs when y'all fucking. You get a paper cut giving her back rubs. Jesus Christ. So he's got that, but then he's got this last segment. So it's all been it's a lot of comedy so far in the second, right? But then he's got this thing about y'all being on the wrestling podcast, debating John Cena till the daylight. Well, art imitates life. You obsessed with fake fights. That is a great way, because Roc is a huge wrestling fan. His third round is going to show it in this battle, but he's very loud about that. And then the fake fights angle is so up front. It's one of the best fake fights bar. Like, any of those almost about the fights, one of the best punches I've seen used against Roc with this angle. Obviously, wrestling, being scripted, art imitates life, you obsessed with fake fights. I just can't get over it. I thought that bar was amazing. From there, he says that anything you ever asked her was a trick question. I thought that was disrespectful too, but more in an attacking way. I thought that was probably his best bar, involving, like, the caution related stuff. And then he has the moment of the battle. I came back to the crime scene with the fitted off, and he takes off the hat, which, was a big part of the face-off, so he must have wrote it recently. And he is as bald as possible. It was like his head was fluorescent when he showed it to the light. Incredible moment. It's going to go down as an all-time battle rap moment. I think Twerk himself even said K taking his fitted off is better than his moment taking the hoodie off first verb. So, right there from another Legends, perspective already. So, crazy way to end the round. It makes you think if he went second, how that would have hit. But very, very good round from K. Elite second, and then it's on Roc in the second. He rebuttals off rip. He says, I ain't knowing you was going to take off that hat. You was going to look like Remy from Higher Learning. Funny and good rebuttal in my opinion. The comedy that came afterwards, not so much. I wasn't the craziest on. Then he gets to the Kensington bar, Alan Daly Kensington Street Bar. I thought that was cool. And then he's got this segment. This is the only segment I really didn't like in Roc's second. He brought back the Ken scheme that Ward did. He's like, I would have done it a little different. And it really wasn't different. I didn't like it when Ward did it, and I did not like it when Tay Roc did it, so I didn't like that little concept. Then he has the pig word play. And some of these I didn't even like. The pig meant, he had a few pig flips, but I did like you can't even understand him, like this pig Latin, the language. So I actually like that. The head on K Dents, he won't flow the same. I thought that was cool. The quesadilla bar, a little reachy, but I also kind of like that one. DK on the barrel like Donkey Kong. I thought that was cool. So he's jabbing, but I think he's much more like, even though he wasn't landed with power early, I thought Roc was more consistent in this second compared to the first. Like the first, I thought he had genuine dry spots. I was still liking this material to an extent as it went throughout. The Sandra Bland mugshot bar I thought was dope. I was selling that shit that Verb smokes now. I thought that was funny, obviously. And then from there, I think this last half or third of Roc's second is where he really takes off. And then you get into the multis, which is where I knew Roc would shine, emphasizing that. And he has this Judge Joe Brown multi, which it's really Judge Joe Mathis should be the punch. So I do take some points from it for that. But still the lead up to Stone Mound, Mass Murder, Jonestown, Hose Down, because they know a crackhead. The doctors know a crackhead when they see it, like Judge Joe Brown. Still crazy, and he ran it back right after too, which the skill to do that, even if it's not going to get cheers. I thought that was crazy. But it's the bars after, too. That'll make the temptation start, like Motown. Thought that was a haymaker. Geechee was smoking on his pack. That's how we make the merry-go-round. I thought that was dope. Clean up after the dog. They gonna have to clean up after the dog with a shit bag. I thought that was fire. And then the last haymaker in the chain, we gonna do some ridiculousness like Robin Big, Bigg K. So that was a crazy end. And then the Dalmatian bar after, wasn't a haymaker, but just a little dope bar to end it off. And to me, this is so debatable. I mean, like preference second, and it really, you're not going to want to hear it. I'm telling you now, it's a preference battle because of it. But if I got to explain kind of for both sides why, like Rock had the punch heavy first, you know what I'm saying, or the punch heavy second, like the straightforward approach to it. And I thought, even though once again a long ass round, another 11-minute round, this one he was much more efficient from beginning to end. I thought it was a great round. And then K had a 6-minute round. First round he had 5, now he's like a 6:30 round. So once again his round time is getting doubled, but he's keeping up. Like content wise, he's right there with him. He's got some of the peak punches to match him. I mean, the round is this debatable, and Rock rapped twice as long. And for some people, that's enough of an argument to kind of almost like go Bigg K's way. And then he had the moment of the battle in the second round. And for some people, that will also be the thing that would edge the battle Bigg K's way. But if I do have to be completely honest with you, I just thought that flurry from Rock at the end was too much. And even though there is reasons to argue for K, and I'm going to understand why some people have it, it's just hard for me to look at a second round that I just didn't think was bad. I didn't like like I said, I didn't like some of the bars in the beginning, but I also thought K sat on the comedy for a little bit too long too. So I had to nitpick. There's still things you can nitpick from each. And it's just an 11-minute round that I'd say 8 to 9 minutes of it for the most part was really, really good. So although I think it could go either way, and I think this is really where you would decide the battle, to be honest with you, I did edge Tay Roc the second, even on replay. And I did have him up 2-0 narrowly going into the third round. And then you have the final round of the battle where K has another big moment almost off the rip where he says, you wouldn't come to the blue room in 2023, so I brought it to you. And the room lights up, and it is the same blue fluorescent light that we know from the RB blue room. And from there, he gets the back-to-back punch and came with the sweeper like dustpans, the smoked egg, like seen a fiend smoke an egg like he's cooking on a Trago. I thought that was dope. Picking through Rock like geology. I thought that was dope. So it's not haymakers, but building momentum. They took your chain and chased you off the block. A running joke. Thought that was clever. We ain't seen Rock with heart since Jumanji. Jumanji bar, but I haven't actually heard, even though I've probably heard Jumanji bar used differently, I haven't heard it, directly to Rock like that. So I thought that was pretty dope. Then he brings up the incident of him in chess fighting where he said, dude was on the floor, you tried to kick him and missed. That happened. That's why Rock laughed. You'll see him laugh at that bar. That was real. And then in a round that's got a lot of wrestling bars, trust me, especially when we get to Rocks, K might have had the best with the I made my name with the razor like Scott Hall. I thought that was fire. Hands and feet on Rock like the Don Wall. Then he's got the sold the culture to caffeine, which I thought he's going to get into this angle a lot more throughout the battle. I had said League going at URL, and he does it, but this last segment is where I feel like he does it best. Y'all sold the culture to caffeine and let him milk it bone dry. And then the handicap kind of concept where he said, y'all put it on crutches while I made a wheelchair ramp and dedicated the path for him. Y'all handicapped the game while I elevated the platform. So the whole handicap, the wheelchair up the ramp, the platform elevating. I thought that was crazy. Probably my favorite anything he did in this battle, from the moments, any of that. And then he ends with the whole, you're calling me a cracker, but when you get to this top spot, they're all calling you white hot, like he's on fire. So I actually really like K's third. I think it's like just a very solid round, punch heavy, and with that peak ending. And Rock's third, this where people said this round is debatable. I'm not really seeing it as much. Like, I thought it was close live, and I edged it to K, but Rock's got a lot of dog stuff. The dog collar, unleashed, thought that was cool. The dog scheme I didn't like, but it had the Labrador bar, so it was like, I didn't like about 60-70% of it, but I did think that was dope. The he became possessed, the eyes roll back, foaming at the mouth, thought that was cool. Then he had multis where, like, he just got this part of his round, the Captain America bar, like, he's just cool rapping. Like, I thought it was solid. But then you have I'm the URL chaperone on this King of the Dot field trip, which was funny as hell. And then he has a long wrestling segment. I mean, I'll name all the wrestlers here. I thought his Wyatt 6-1 with the Uncle Howdy, the Bray Wyatt bar, I thought that was the best. But then he's got the Andre the Giant joint, the Jake the Snake, Big Boss Man, the Sola Sikoa with the, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he does the Samoan spike like Umaga, so that's why I had the thumbs up bar about it. Break up the Shield like Seth Rollins, the Ken Shamrock bar, the Jacob Fatu bar I thought was pretty dope too. The Manu, the gun like Ginobili, not old Manu. I didn't really like that one that much, but I thought it was cool. The Thanos with the Time Jewel bar, Pet Cemetery, Can't Bring the Dog Back. And he actually had a good bar at the end. You're always pulling your phone out, but can never complete a sentence. Like, how'd you go to jail, but you can never complete a sentence? But talk about like pulling his phone out in battles. So I thought Rock's third was cool, but I didn't think it was matching up to K's third. I almost clearly have K winning the third, to be honest with you. And in a battle where the swing round is in the second, I completely can understand K2-1, but I just feel like Rock, even with the longer rounds, did what he had to do, and I feel like won this battle with the flurry at the end of his second round, and overall have him edging it 2-1. And what a crazy battle, man. It's one that, like I said, I didn't like it very much at first. And I do think the replay value will go down as people look past some of the moments of it. I do feel like, there's points where, like I said, K might have hung on the comedy a little bit too long, where I thought Rock just rapped too goddamn long, and I think that's going to hurt the replay value a bit. But I still think it's one of the stronger battles of the year. I would not put it in the top 5 or top 3, but I do think it would be in a short list of the top 10 battles of the year when you include everything, not just the quality, which is good, but not special. But then you have the storyline that goes into it, the moments that play into it, and I think the overall importance of what it'll mean to this year, also closing out what's been an event of the year with a worthwhile main event where many people thought it lived up to the hype. So for all those reasons, you know what I'm saying? And I also feel like if you got Bigg K 2-1, I'm not mad at it whatsoever. I gave my reasons why I could see it from the other perspective, but in a battle where he hits that flurry at the end, I understand this consensus vote for him. And even though I don't like, as I've said many times, I don't like the whole round length, doubling time and round length. The thing is, if you're going to rap 10, 11 minutes, be efficient with it. And in the deciding round, he was efficient with it. So let me know in the comments down below, man. I would love to hear your guys' perspective on if you had Bigg K winning, you know what I'm saying? Why is that? How did you feel about the battle? Do you feel it's an instant classic, you know what I'm saying? Am I tripping? Or do you feel more like it's a good storyline, but the battle itself in some ways could have been a little better? Still really good, but in some ways could have been a little better. I want to hear your guys' opinions and expect probably Frack and John to be the next review and maybe 1 or 2 more after that. But it's been J Small Reviews again, y'all. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm going to catch you on the next one, man. Peace.